When you find yourself in an environment filled with gangsters, smokers, and drug addicts, there is every chance that you turn out like the people in that environment. But this is not the case for Demar Derozan. He defied the odds and launched himself into the biggest stages of the NBA despite being raised in a hood filled with notorious gangs. Today we're going to bring you the fascinating story of Demar Derozan and how he grew from the dark to the limelight. But before we do that, kindly subscribe and hit that notification bell icon to push us into the safe hands of the YouTube algorithm. With that said, let's get this started. Being born in a gang-filled community is enough to make you feel like death could hit you at any moment. You risk getting robbed, being hit by a stray bullet, getting beaten by some bad boys, getting raped. You also face the possibility of losing a loved one daily and being forcefully initiated into inter-gang clashes. So you practically sleep at night, not knowing if you'll be able to make it to the next day. That was the type of environment Derozan found himself in when growing up. Put yourself in his shoes and you'll understand what this lad had to pass through to make it to the NBA All-Stars. Born in 1989 in Compton, a city in southern Los Angeles known for its high crime rate and gangsterism, Derozan's childhood was nothing to write home about. His childhood started badly when he lost his dad to illness, and this incident exposed the young Derozan to poverty and crime and left him just under the care of his mother. While growing up in this neighborhood, his life revolved around his affiliation with the pocket Compton Crips. This group is an old African-American street gang that caused many problems in Compton's streets. That was Derozan's identity, growing up in the hood. Recounting his relationship with the gang as a kid, Derozan, in an interview with ABC News, stated that, "It's the first thing you feel accepted by. It's all I knew. I look back on it now and it makes no sense. But growing up, it made perfect sense." Also, talking about his experience as a kid, Derozan remembered the first time he attended a burial. Sudden death was a regular occurrence in the hood. At the age of 5, he attended his first funeral. It was the death of his uncle, who was shot dead by some gangs. Recounting how he felt being in a burial at a very young age, he said, "You remember that feeling. It's kind of sickening. You carry that hatred and frustration with you." At age 17, Derozan also lost his best friend over a dice game. It must have been a horrible experience for the young Derozan to watch his best friend get shot over a dice game. Not many would have stayed away from gang activities after witnessing such. He could have easily joined the gang to avenge his best friend, but he did not. He carried on with his life with the scar. The situation he found himself in was capable of making any young lad depressed, but the kid had to survive. The only way to keep his head up as a young lad in Compton at the time was to be tough, mean, and bad. You needed to know how to fight, kill, and do other nefarious stuff. But did Derozan become all these? Did he get that bad? Let's find out. Derozan has been through a lot of stuff. It's no wonder he's been through a lot of depression over the years, something for which he has been creating awareness campaigns. But despite his ugly circumstances as a kid, he managed to pick himself up, worked hard, and turned himself into a star in the NBA. Unlike other boys in the hood, Derozan was lucky to escape the hostilities of living in Compton. He was selected in the lottery by the Toronto Raptors, and he built his career there as a deadly mid-range scorer and slasher. His rise to stardom was evident when the Toronto Raptors selected him in 2009. He spent over 8 years with the Raptors. He developed himself into a sensational mid-range scorer. He could throw the ball into the net from anywhere. His time in Toronto was marked by a lot of unforgettable moments in silverware. By 2018, Derozan thought it was time to test his skills in other places. He felt it was the right time to take the big stage by storm. He made a switch to the San Antonio Spurs, where he developed other parts of his game. He spent 2 years with the Spurs before joining the big stars of the Chicago Bulls in 2021. His short period with the Chicago Bulls has been interesting. He has continued to impress game after game. With his current form, there is no stopping him. After all that he's been through, there is no doubt that Derozan has moved from the gang hood to become one of the most talented players in the history of the NBA. Through him, his family has been lifted off the pits of Compton, and they now live in a quiet, middle-class neighborhood. Even if Derozan decides to end his career today, he would look back, beat his chest, and praise himself for the successes he has had over the years. But with his mentality, Derozan is not the type to let his leg off the gas over his achievements. He still works very hard to remain at the top of his games. He is the type of guy that hardly gets moved by media hype. The mental toughness he drew from growing up in one of the worst places in Los Angeles has sustained his hunger for the game. He has long forgotten his old identity as that gang boy from Compton and taken a new one as an all-star NBA ace. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Bye for now.